Mortal Kombat has always, from the very first game in 1992, been known for its palette swap ninjas. The OGs were Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Reptile, and from there it exploded, with many of the series' most iconic characters being from this group. But which of the palette swap ninjas are actually ninjas? Hello my fellow oddities, and welcome to Which Mortal Kombat Ninja is the Most Ninja? The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines a ninja as a person trained in ancient Japanese martial arts and employed especially for espionage and assassinations. Basically, back in feudal Japan, you had your samurai, which were the frontline warriors who went to battle, but ninjas were the spies that worked stealthily and had more covert missions. They usually wore all black and had weapons like swords, shuriken, and kunai. So, with that definition of a ninja, let's rank every Mortal Kombat palette swap from least to most accurate to those parameters. And I will only be covering the male ninjas today, but female ninjas did exist in history, so if you want to see a video covering Kitana, Jade, Melina, Tanya, let me know in the comments down below. The least ninja in Mortal Kombat history, in my opinion, is Rain, the bastard son of Argus and biologically the Prince of Edenia, but he never actually held that position despite what he might try and tell you. So firstly, I know we don't like the MK1 timeline, but I do want to acknowledge that version of Rain is a mage and explicitly not any sort of ninja. But regardless, I think even the original timeline Rain is not really a ninja at all. He's very prideful about his identity as son of Argus, clearly jealous and very power hungry, whereas ninjas always had a private, secretive life. They weren't trying to be kings or emperors or princes, they wanted to use their skills for a covert mission. And Rain's designs after the initial palette swap era are also pretty clearly not ninja inspired, with a lot of his Edenian culture, place of power, and general pride being very present in his outfits. I mean, his MKX design is nearly topless, something a ninja would never wear. Rain doesn't usually use weapons, but in MK11 he uses a katar, a Royal South Asian dagger, not a traditional ninja weapon. So yeah, most of the palette swaps have some sort of argument to the general idea of a ninja, but Rain, I don't think you can consider him one at all. Next up I have Floyd and also Chameleon. I have them both in the same spot because they may be the same character, but also I have the same issue with both of them. We just don't know enough. Well, maybe that makes them the most ninja. But yeah, neither of these characters, especially Floyd with one very brief appearance, have a lot to them to really break down. I do put them above Rain though, just for the fact that they are very mysterious, which is an aspect that Rain lacks. Next up we have Tremor, the brute of the Black Dragon with the powers to control the ground and earth beneath us. Now Tremor is fairly mysterious. We don't know his real name and really who or what he even is. His issue is the way he goes about things. Ninja are meant to be very stealthy, nimble, with weapons that are discreet. Giant rock monster that chucks boulders at people does not scream discreet. We don't really know Tremor's role in the Black Dragon, but more than likely he's a grunt or some sort of bodyguard rather than secret assassin. And he also doesn't use weapons seemingly at all, he just punches things. There's also the issue of what his occupation is. Ninja, while not exactly among the most moral of jobs, weren't straight up criminals, arms and drug dealers, or chaos creators the way the Black Dragon is. His modern designs also don't have much ninja influence at all besides a hood. Specifically, I'm talking about MKX Tremor. He gives more Bane from Batman vibes, especially with the mask, rather than ninja. And again, like Rain, he's barely wearing a shirt.
Put a fucking shirt on, Magic Mike.
Thanks, Kano. Next, I got the GOAT Noob Saibot, the resurrected Bi-Han with the new powers to create portals and summon a shadow clone. Noob is sort of the ninja of the Brotherhood of Shadow. In MK2, he has the mission to secretly observe the Outworld tournament to gather info for Shinnok, which is something a ninja would do. He also wears all black, which is by far the most accurate colors of any palette swap because ninjas wore all black. Plus, in Deception, Noob uses shuriken, being the only MK ninja to do so. No, Sub-Zero and MK11 doesn't count because he doesn't actually use them. They are just aesthetic. Though all his other weapons, such as the Troll Hammer in Armageddon and the specific hooked sickle he uses in MK11, are not ninja weapons, though they did use a sickle in a Kusarigama. Where it really starts to fall apart for Noob is beyond MK4, where he becomes his own man after Shinnok's defeat, and he goes on this power-hungry mission to create his own clan of cyber smoke shadow warriors. Again, ninja are not the people in power, they are the working men who keep a private life and do the job to make a normal living. But you know what, I think Noob is the first guy on this list you can definitively call a ninja, even if his goals end up expanding way beyond just ninjahood. Next up, I got Ermac. Ermac is a pretty acceptable ninja. He's the creation of Shao Kahn, merger of all the souls he had taken over his reign, and Ermac is completely loyal and performs missions for the Emperor. That is until Shao Kahn loses the invasion of Earthrealm, where Ermac is left to wander with no purpose, until being found by Kenshi and he learns to become his own person. People. So after that point, he becomes a little less accurate as a ninja, but his usual depiction is pretty similar. His design is great as well. Traditionally, he has a more ninja-like attire than most of the other palette swaps, as Ermac usually has sleeves. He does have the wrapped up mummy look as a mask, which isn't exactly what Ninja wore, but it's not the biggest deal. He doesn't usually use weapons, but in Deception, his weapon is an axe, and Ninja did use axes. They're not famous for it, but it was in their repertoire. The only area where I think Ermac really falls is that he doesn't have that single game or action where he truly does something ninja-like. Noob, as previously mentioned, did have the MK2 storyline where he was an observer, and every other character we're going to talk about does have that canon action. Ermac, on the other hand, is really only known for being in big battles like the invasion of Earthrealm or the Battle of Armageddon, not covert operations. Next we have Reptile. By pretty much every measure, Reptile is a ninja. Sure, he has green scaly skin and can spit acid, but in what his actual role is, as well as his way of going about his job, he is very accurate. Firstly, in Mortal Kombat 1992, he's on the island as an observer in human disguise, and that's sort of his job to use his very useful invisibility powers to sneak around, a perfect place for a ninja. He's also known to be very fast, slick, nimble, the way a ninja should be, and we also know from his shock in the MKX intro dialogue with Raiden that his real identity is not meant to be widely known.
Step aside, Sizoth.
Know my true name.
Reptile doesn't usually use weapons, but in Deadly Alliance he uses a sword, a traditional ninja weapon, the most famous one. So yeah, in pretty much every area you can think of, a Reptile has been able to represent in some way across all his appearances. I mean, he's the first ever secret character in fighting games. I think that's gotta be enough to consider him a true ninja. However, the top 3 ninja we're gonna talk about utilize not only the weapons, look, and occupation of a ninja, but really the culture behind ninja as well, which is why Reptile can't be higher than them because he ain't even human. At number 3, we have Sub-Zero, both of them, Kuai Liang and Bi-Han. They're both pretty much equally ninja, maybe Bi-Han a little more so, because Kuai Liang does eventually evolve into not really a ninja clan. Now you might say, well, the Lin Quay are not ninja, and Bi-Han even takes offense to being called one in Mortal Kombat mythologies. Well, firstly, only one character on this list is literally referred to as a ninja, so we're not really taking that into account. But also, the Lin Quay in Mortal Kombat canon is what inspired the Japanese ninja that actually existed in history. So technically, the Lin Quay are more ninja than ninja, since they are the OGs. But yeah, Lin Quay have all the qualities of a ninja. The covert missions, assassinations, stealthy approaches, and specifically Quay and Bi-Han also have their moments where this is shown. The initial goal of both brothers is to invade the tournament and assassinate Shang Tsung. Bi-Han also goes on a mission to invade the Shaolin Temple, the Temple of Elements, and the Netherrealm in Mortal Kombat mythologies. Oh yeah, and like I said earlier, Kuai Liang in MK11 has Shuriken on his belt, but they're only aesthetic. I will say neither brother ever uses real weapons most times though, usually just creating them with their ice powers, but that's just one minor thing in a sea of ninja. But they're not the most ninja of the Lin Quay, especially after Mortal Kombat 1, because the second most ninja in Mortal Kombat is Smoke. So firstly, almost take everything I said about Quay and Bi-Han, and you can say that about Smoke. Part of the Lin Quay, sneaks around, such as during MK2 behind the tree, assassin, stealthy, you name it. However, what he also has is the ability to go invisible, which shows that he is probably much more effective in sneaking around and getting into places he shouldn't be. And in Mortal Kombat 1, he has probably the most prevalent ninja weapon for its effectiveness for its small size. That also happens to be a quality of the Karambit, a weapon that was perfect for concealing before suddenly whipping it out and then slicing people's throats. You can also add on the fact that Smoke is gray, which is not the GOAT Noob Saibot levels of accuracy for a ninja, but it's better than blue or red or green. So yeah, Smoke is easily up here at the number 2 spot. But come on, as soon as you saw this video in your feed or in your notifications, should be in your notifications, it was obvious who the number 1 spot would be. The most ninja is, I was gonna do a build up, but you already know who it is, Scorpion. And it's Scorpion because he's literally a ninja. Like I've said, this guy or that guy, you can call a ninja because technically, but Scorpion is a ninja. First of all, Japanese. Ninja are Japanese, so that checks out. His most iconic move is using a kunai, probably second only to a dagger for most common ninja weapon. He's part of a clan named the Shirai Ryu. He was hired by Quan Chi to infiltrate a Shaolin temple to steal the map of elements. Very ninja-like behavior. Ever since MK4, he's also used swords. In fact, even before that, in UMK3, he used an axe. Like I said before, ninja weapon. He has a private, peaceful life outside of ninja-ing with his wife and child. Literally has a variation named ninjutsu in Mortal Kombat X, and is the only character in this franchise directly referred to as a ninja multiple times. I don't know, guys. I think we may have found our winner here. Maybe. But yeah, the takeaway from this video is if you see a ninja as a certain set of skills, actions, and aesthetic, then yeah, most of these guys are ninjas, besides probably Rain and Tremor. But if you see ninjas as the literal Japanese ninja warriors, then there's only one, and that's Scorpion. And also technically Takeda in a sense. Well, I see him as more as trained to be a ninja rather than actual ninja, because that's not really what he do. But to be fair, none of these guys really act like a ninja for more than maybe one game. All of them eventually become something else. Characters like Hanzo and Quay turn their clans into something more heroic, whereas people like Noob want to take over the world. The point is, it's all arbitrary and doesn't matter. No one actually cares if you call them by the accurate term. We're not historians, we are nerds. But did I miss anything that makes these palette swaps more or less of a ninja? Let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe and leave a like if you want, and that's wraps on this one, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.